Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 9. So we are towards the start of 2 weeks of no new episodes for The Flash, with us returning on April 26th for episode 9, which is the Oliver Queen return episode, alongside other characters like Wally West, Bloodwork, and Diggle as well. But the silver lining with this break is that it is the last one for the season, and I guess the show will ever have whilst being on. So when we come back with episode 9 on April 26th, we will then follow on the week after that and until the end with the new and final storyline for the show, that of course being the one revolved around Cobalt Blue and that whole story arc there. Now I knew some of the final storylines titles for the end of this season. They were released about a month or so ago, roughly, I want to say, so roughly around that. But now we have the rest, obviously. And along with that, I wanted to jump into some of the most asked questions I've seen about this storyline and give my best possible answer to them, or just my overall theories. But first, we'll go over the episode titles and, various thoughts as to how it plays out, and then move into that stuff. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this. What do you think? Any theories, any predictions? Let me know. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to show your support and looking forward to these final episodes, want to drop a like on the video. It takes 2 seconds. So up until this point, we knew that episode 10 and 11 of this season would be called A New World Part 1, and of course, as you'd expect, A New World Part 2. But over the past week, we got the episode titles for the final 2 episodes of The Flash ever. That, of course, being episodes 12 and 13. And I wasn't too sure what they would do. Most were hoping for like the final run or Run Barry Run or something like that as the finale title, which I can understand. But instead, we've got something which The Flash, I think, has only done once in regards to like just The Flash, and that has surpassed Part 2 in a title, and that was back in Armageddon when we went up to Part 5, which itself was sort of posing as a crossover, really. So I don't know if you'd really count it, but I guess you still do because it was just The Flash. But yeah, episodes 12 and 13, with 13 of course serving as the series finale, will be called A New World Part 3, and yeah, you guessed it, A New World Part 4. Now, it was weird. From the reaction I saw online, people weren't too happy about this. For me, I mean, I guess as I said before, I can see why people would want something like a final run or Run Barry Run. But I don't really care because it's just an episode title, and then when you go to watch it on Netflix or whatever it is after, it's not like the episode title pops out or anything like that. I'm more concerned for what actually takes place in the actual episode or episodes, and how it wraps up not only the Cobalt Blue storyline, just how that performs as a whole, but just how the show as a whole is wrapped up as well, like how it wraps up a 9-season journey. That's what I'm looking forward to. So that's where my focus and concern is, but maybe I'm the weird one. Maybe I'm the weird one not focusing on the title too much. Maybe the titles are what I should be worrying about. I don't know, maybe I'm the idiot here. We'll wait and see when the episode's air, I guess. But one thing that hopefully the title does suggest is that the story is thick and full from beginning to end. And I think they have wrapped most of the side stories up that need to be wrapped up outside of like Thawne. She's the one that sort of stands out. And I guess to an extent Cecile, but I think most people are blocking that out. But with Thawne, like it's already been said by Eric Wallace that she's an important part come the end of the season. And we've been waiting throughout the season to see where that starts to pop out. So it's probably going to come out in this final storyline. So she probably has like an overpowered ability or just aspect to her powers that helps in a big way, with it probably being the fact that she can sense life and maybe bring people back to life if they are close to death or just dead in general, like we saw with her and Chillblaine earlier in the season. It was pretty much said like he was probably gonna die, like he was hurt that badly, and then Thawne gave like the kiss of life, if you want to put it, and he's back fully like in full health. He's got the full health bar back up. But we know in part 1, episode 10, that we are in the past. We go time traveling. We know that from set photos. So hopefully all the slowing down and cheapness is probably a good word to use. So probably a good word to use. So like cheapness of the past 3 or so episodes is worth it for this final storyline, as well as the Oliver Queen return episode. We'll know when we get to April 26th how that plays out, but the trailer for that episode looks great, and I can't wait to see our first look at this final storyline as well. Cannot wait. Now, this is sort of like revisiting something we talked about previously, but a new world. That's what this graphic novels going to be called. We've got a New World Part 1 all the way to a New World Part 4. So a New World, that's the graphic novel storyline title. So what do they mean by a New World? Like, does the timeline change leading into this? Is that what they mean by a New World? Or do things start to change due to the actions of Cobalt Blue, and then we see it maybe in real time, an attempt to shift it into a new world? That's the big question that a lot of people have. Like, why is it specifically being called a new world? Of course, the week before, we have the Oliver Queen episode, as I've said like multiple times already throughout this episode, this video, might I say. And people are wondering whether that's like a catalyst for maybe what happens. Maybe there's a timeline change there. We know from the trailer that we're dealing with revisiting Crisis and maybe Wally getting like trauma from maybe seeing stuff from pre-Crisis and the other parts of the multiverse, maybe like Jesse Quick or something like that. So it's hard to tell based off that trailer, but the fact it's addressing it makes you think, okay, well, maybe they're going to tap into that and maybe it stems into this. But I think the main thing that's going to be revolving around like a new world and maybe stuff being shifted and changed a bit that could lead into quote unquote a new world is the blue crystal. You have to think the blue crystal has some significant power that allows not only time travel, but maybe even the ability to manipulate what's happening at that point in time. If you do go back to like 1972 or whatever the year is or something like that. I think that's the interesting part there. But hopefully when we get into part 1 of this storyline, we get like a decent idea as to what the motive is, or at least what the plan is and what we should expect. Because nothing really stands out from what we've seen from set photos or even like castings in regards to anything changing massively. So though it's called a new world, the biggest change just seems to be that Rick Cosnett is a character that's alive. Like, that's the biggest change. And that's all we've seen so far. Like, that's the biggest change that would highlight a new world. So hopefully we get more instances in the first episode. And I don't know how Barry's going to fix it if there is some timeline changes that start to shift. Maybe you have to destroy the crystal and it gets undone. I'm not too sure, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, I've been looking forward to this storyline ever since it was suggested that it might be Cobalt Blue that's coming in from the end of last season with the blue crystal. And it's been what I've been looking forward to since this season started. I've sort of like just forgotten about everything. The only thing that sort of jumped into excitement levels similar to it was when it was announced that Oliver Queen was coming back alongside Kid Flash and Diggle and Bloodwork. So I can't wait for it, and hopefully it lives up to my excitement, or at least lives up to it in some way. But in regards to the most asked questions, I've got a couple here, and the first one actually relates to something we just talked about, and that's what the hell is Rick Cosnett doing? So is he Eddie Thawne? Like, we know he's Cobalt Blue, but is he Eddie Thawne? Is he playing Eddie Thawne from the get-go, or is he playing Malcolm Thawne? So in the comics, Cobalt Blue is of course Malcolm Thawne. However, in the comics, it's also Barry's like long-lost twin brother, so he looks like Barry. In this case, it looks like Eddie. So what are they doing here? Is it Eddie Thawne that's like reborn and regenerated or whatever it might be? Or is it going to be something else? Now, I think the easiest thing to do is say it's Eddie Thawne. However, in interviews, they've never referenced Eddie. They've never said, oh, Rick's come back and done a really good job as Eddie. They haven't said that. They just said, oh, Rick Cosnett's come back and done a good job. But with other characters, like with Jessica Parker Kennedy, they say Nora. With Wells, they say Thawne. With Matt Letcher, they said Thawne. Like as in like Eobard Thawne, but they haven't done that with Rick Cosnett. So I think they're trying to keep it a bit of a mystery as to exactly who he's playing. Now, my whole theory around it, as I've said a couple of times in videos, is that Malcolm Thawne is Eddie's long-lost illegitimate son that maybe Eddie didn't know about. So it sort of plays into the comics of like a long-lost something that doesn't know their past and their history and their connections. And then they learn about it and it spurs this path to them becoming Cobalt Blue. So in the comics, it was Malcolm Thawne learning that he got the crap end of the stick, if you want to put it, and Barry got this wonderful life, and he tries to take revenge on that. But with this, we could see that maybe Malcolm Thawne never got to learn who his father was, and then starts to research it, learns who Eddie was, but learn what happened to Eddie back in season 1, that he was the true hero. He was engaged to Iris, or he was going to marry Iris, and had this future set up, and it was taken away. And who stepped into that? Barry Allen, aka The Flash. And it wouldn't surprise me too much if maybe there's a scene in the future we might open up and it's maybe Malcolm Thawne in the Flash Museum, maybe researching some stuff. Wouldn't surprise me too much if we get something like that, but that's a wait and see. But that's my theory around it. The easy option is just to say it's Eddie that's reborn and a bit manipulated, but I don't like the idea of them making Eddie a villain. Eddie died a hero, so why bring him back as a villain? I don't like the idea of that. So that makes me even side more with the fact that it'll probably be Malcolm Thawne, but we'll wait and see. Another big question is the Reverse Flash origin. We know that Matt Letcher is coming back for an episode. It looks like it's either episode 11 or episode 12. So that will be either part 2 or part 3 in this A New World storyline. We don't know necessarily when his stuff is taking place. He wasn't seen on set, so it's hard to tell exactly what's going on there. I would say maybe because Eric Wallace said this is a storyline they've been waiting to do with the Matt Letcher version of Eobard Thawne, and this is the perfect time to do it. They didn't do it last season when they had him back for like 2 or 3 episodes or whatever it was. They're doing it now. So a lot of people think it's a Reverse Flash origin story. I think it's the thing that sounds most likely, especially when you put it together with what's being said in regards to what they, that this was the perfect time to do it. But it's a wait and see. Fingers crossed it's that, because I think that's what a lot of people want to see. And 2 minor ones to end off the video. The first one is that people have been asking this a couple of times ever since it was announced on the show. There's been a bit of a change up as to when it was specifically meant to happen. And that's Nora. So Nora's being born earlier. Will that change anything timeline-wise? And you have to think, I guess, yes, to an extent. But I just don't know how much it would. I don't know, in reality, if that happened, I'd assume it would change a decent amount, but I don't know if the show is going to make it change too much. I think it's going to say, oh yeah, she's born a couple months earlier, whatever. It's not like she's been born years and years earlier, so I don't know if it's going to be that much of a change in regards to other things being affected. I know the theory's out there, but maybe they have twins now instead. So Nora's being born earlier, but it also brings Bard forward a couple of years earlier as well. So we'll wait and see. I'm sure we'll probably see it before the finale. So yeah, we'll wait and see. And the final thing is flash forwards at any point. People are wondering if we're going to just leave the show with Barry in 2023 and not see Barry past that point. Now, the only thing that might allow us to see an older version of Barry is the fact that we are doing some time traveling in this New World storyline. But at the same time, a lot of time when we time travel, it's with Barry. So I don't know if we'd time travel and then see Barry interacting with an older Barry. I just don't know if that would happen, but they might do that. But if they do that, they might only make it it's a Barry that's only 10 years older or something, so he doesn't look that much different. But yeah, it's hard to tell. If anything, we might see something where it's video footage of the Flash doing something in the future. Maybe it's in the Flash Museum, something minor like that. I don't know if there'd be any massive interaction with an older Barry with some other character on the show. At least I don't think so. But we'll have to wait and see. It's the final season. You never know what you're going to get. So if you really want that, fingers crossed, I guess. I guess. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this video and any theories and predictions and hopes and expectations you have moving into this final storyline. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.